Smoking Friends. I am still weird about how I do this intro thing. I don't know. But today is a very special episode. I have a special guest, and today's episode is dedicated to my daughter Rozara and mental health. And today I have my cousin Margaret Wallace. I'll be bringing her in a second. And I just found out today that she's actually a psychologist. So today's episode should be dope, and I shall bring in my cousin. Oh, and it's Dr. Margaret Wallace. I gotta put some respect on her name, on the Wallace name. Miss Wallace, how are you?
I am
Did
fine.
you hear all that? Did you see all
Good.
that?
I did. I did. I
How
did.
was it?
That was awesome. That was awesome. It
Okay,
was very Wallace of you.
thank you, thank you. Now, before we start, we were talking about that we want to tell the story how we met, and actually, my mind is kind of hazy. How did we actually meet?
Okay, so I'll tell you what I remember, right? One day, so for some reason, I connect to whomever is Wallace. I'm just like, that's my cousin.
Me
There's
too.
a
I do
connection.
the same thing.
I'm like, every last Wallace was like friend request. I'm like, click, click, yes, yes, yes. So one day, I want to say it was late last year or maybe early in the year. I don't remember exactly when myself, but you
Mm,
posted something about your baby girl. And I
yeah.
read the post, man, and I could feel your heart. I was like, ooh. I was like, ooh. I don't know him, but I feel like I need to reach out to him. I hope he doesn't think I'm a crazy woman, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so I texted you via Facebook Messenger and said, I feel you, man. You got this. Like just one day at a time. It's gonna be all right. Just time. I myself have been through something similar. On the opposite end, and
Yeah.
I promise you, just time, time, time.
That is a weird way to meet your cousin.
I know, right? And then you started telling me, you had relatives in Dominica.
Yeah.
I'm from Dominica. And I'm like, we might really be cousins. And for real, I think we are.
No, we actually are. I've done some research.
You did? What did you
Yes.
find out?
I just asked a lot of people. I have a lot of Wallaces, like from Dominica and the Virgin Islands on my Facebook, and 98% of us are cousins.
For real, for real,
Yeah.
for real.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you thought I just been talking shit this whole time? Like,
Say that
no.
again?
You thought I just been talking this shit this whole time that we're
No,
not
no,
cousins?
no. No, I didn't think you were talking shit the whole time. No, for real. I believe we're really blood related. We are.
Oh, we're blood related.
Based on the information that I have, your people are from the Wesley line. Ours are
Yeah.
from north of Dominica in Clifton, but it's the same. When the people that I grew up knowing are my cousins are also your cousins.
Interesting.
That's right. That's right.
Wow.
That's right.
I've never been to Dominica, so I don't know
Oh,
any of that.
really?
Nah,
Can you
no.
tell, like, where were you born? Like, what, you're from the Virgin Islands, right?
Nah, I'm from Austin.
Houston?
Austin.
Austin,
Oh yeah, I
Texas.
was born in
Okay.
Austin. Yeah.
Okay, 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 okay. See, I'm learning all this stuff about my relatives, man.
Do I seem like I'm from the Virgin Islands?
No, you talked about relatives from the Virgin Islands.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. All right.
Hmm.
So let's let's jump right in.
Yes, sir. Yes,
uh,
sir.
today's topic is mental health. I'm just gonna put that there. I want to show your name because I want the people to have respect on your name that you're a doctor. That's all I want. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, but now, all right. Where are you gonna start? Because I have questions too. But where particularly do you want to start?
Well, I just want to start by expressing my, support for you. My heart is with you today. My, I'm just sending you love and light today because anniversaries of when our loved ones pass can be like just so excruciating. And that just depends, some years it's okay, some years it's like you down in the dumps, like
Yeah.
you can't get up. So that's where I want to start first.
Okay. This year,
Mm-hmm.
weird thing is, let's go back 2 years. We'll go back to 2 years, last year, then this year, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So 2 years ago, I was in the Virgin Islands, and I was working in the refinery. So when this day came around, I cried all morning, whatever, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I had some good crew, so they were cool. Now
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna jump whatever. I'm not gonna get into it yet. But so
Yeah.
we go last year. Last year was COVID, like start of
Mm-hmm.
COVID. So I had just left the Virgin Islands, and now I'm in Dallas,
Okay.
and I have access to all the drugs I want. So
Yes, yes, yes.
so when this time came around,
Mm-hmm.
I had a lot of cocaine, so I was good. I was good.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
the day after, like, I wasn't, because shit wears off. Now today,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not on nothing. I was actually, at first, I felt kind of guilty because I wasn't sad. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Like, I
Mm-hmm.
felt like, because it's 2016, so from 2016 on, like, I've been used to being sad. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
and then once I came to the realization that, like, hey, I might be okay, I just became angry, and I wanted to, like, fight anybody. Like, I was at work wishing somebody would bump into me, say something, and
Mm-hmm.
everybody, like, and nobody knew. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But me wishing all this confrontation, everybody was nice as fuck today, like extra nice,
Yeah.
extra
Yeah.
nice. So then I just had to deal with me, and why am I feeling like this?
I'll tell you something. So grief has its own timetable. Grief, they say there are 5 to 7 stages of grief. It might start off with you when you first find out the person that you love died. You're in shock, like complete shock, right? And you might move to a stage of bargaining where you're like, please don't let it be. Please don't let this be true. And
Yeah.
then it starts to hit that this thing really happened and you go into a rage, right? After that rage wears off, it's like the fire burns itself out. Then you calm down. You come down to depression. Like that's when you go to the bottom of that hole, and
Right.
it's like I can't find my flooring. I keep going down, and then it seems as if we start kind of making a little bit of a upward turn to where you get to where you accepting, yeah, this thing really happened. And it's not as if those stages of grief are like cookie cutter, because everybody's different.
Right.
And sometimes when you think, so like last year, you were like, knock me out. Like, I don't want to be in my body for this day
Right. Yeah.
because I'm hurting so much. Today, you're in a different space. Listen to me. Next year, you might be in a totally different space. There's just no telling with grief because it's got its own timetable. That's why I tell people, like, guilt, that guilt, that's the one that I'm like, if you can, just kind of move instead to a place of it is what it is today. Like,
Yeah.
accept what is today because there's no telling. There's no telling. I remember. So while you were talking about this, I remember. So I got to be a little transparent with you, myself. You know how we said at the beginning that I felt you that day
Right.
when you wrote that post. My mom. So I grew up in Dominica, and in the Caribbean, you have these people who are called hucksters, right? They leave
Mm.
one island and they go to another island to sell produce. And my mom was one of those. She'd sell mangoes and just fruits and stuff, and leave Dominica and go to Antigua and go to St. Martin and go to Guadeloupe. Well, man, they did it, of course, on boat. And I was 21. I was a teacher in uh, a little Catholic school on the north side. And the day before she came by, gave me my little hug and my kiss. The next day, I expected her to call and say, "Hey, I'm good. I arrived." Instead, one of the teachers came upstairs and says, "Hey, where's your mom? Have you heard from your mom?" I'm like, "No, but she did travel." And then he said, "Well, I'm sorry to tell you, but the police just came to the office and said that the boat your mom was on sank." I was 21. The boat sank and her body was never recovered. Never recovered. And so, oof, it took me seriously about 16 years. Like I remember like every anniversary was different. Some days, like I said, I was on the floor. I couldn't get up in a ball, fetal position.
Was there ever a time that I hear like a little agony on your but was there ever a time that you didn't believe that it was true since
Let me tell you, I would look like we lived on a hill, and I would look. I mean, I was 21, so I was an adult. I would look almost like every day at the bottom of the hill to see if she was coming up. Like I would just keep thinking she's just going to show up one day, especially because, like I did, there was never a body.
yeah.
So I'm like, she's going to show up. Like this cannot be real. So I stayed in that headspace for many, many, many years. And yeah, those anniversaries were brutal sometimes. But sometimes I was like, okay, I got this. I got this for the most part. And then the next year, you're like, wham, just knock you down. So,
Yeah. I think for me what helped me is that like today like I got up, went to work, whatever. So it was just a normal day, you know what I'm saying? Like I
hmm
thought about it, but
hmm
I was just kind of busy at work that it was just like a normal day.
yeah. What you're mentioning here is routine. So for a lot of people, if you have a routine that can keep you distracted, like and where you got to focus on that. It's hard for your brain to do too many different things at one time.
Right.
And so if you don't have much headspace during the day to be just sitting and reminiscing, or for the memories to just slam you, then you can kind of make it through. You can kind of make
Yeah.
it through sometimes. Again, like there's just no timetable. There's no telling that on a day that it's totally unrelated to her anniversary, that you're not just back like, I gotta take a hit or something. I gotta numb this stuff. I can't.
Well, true, but I'm past that. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm past that. Like that was, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm very past that. Yes, I am an avid weed smoker. Yes, but anything else, I'm way beyond that. You
I'm
know what I mean?
happy.
But
I'm
for me, it wasn't even drugs. Honestly, like for me, it started with just always thinking of killing myself.
mm-hmm,
And, and
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
so get this. So when people talk about killing themselves and people always say like, yo, think about your kids, you know what I'm saying, your other
Mm-hmm,
kids or whatever. And
mm-hmm.
and I can respect people telling me that, but the point I was in, I was like, yo, if I'm thinking about suicide, I've thought about every single thing.
That's right.
You know what I
That's
mean?
right.
Like I thought about every single consequence. But here's three things that helped me. One, because like my brother is like my best friend, you know what I'm saying? And and
Yes.
and and, and he was in jail and I was like
Yes.
I couldn't do that to him. Two,
Yeah.
my oldest daughter, you know what I'm saying? She's close to me and I would just think about how that would fuck her up. But
Yeah.
but the other one would be I lost my daughter and how would it feel to put my mom through that? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that is what really saved me. But there was one point where I was like, I didn't care about none of that. I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm ready, you know?
Absolutely. Because, like the pain is so excruciating that sometimes it just feels like it's better to be not here, like not in your body. A lot of people actually even say they think they're doing it like them doing it, like them committing suicide, might actually be better for their family, you
That's what
know?
I used to think that. Cause I
Mhm.
was like, cause I felt like, yo, everybody's, it like she's been gone since 2016, and it probably
Mhm.
took me maybe till 2 years ago to realize that people actually care about me.
Yeah.
That I wasn't like a charity. So yeah, I was thinking because I was always thinking like, yo, everybody's worried about me. Everybody, you know what I mean? And
Mhm.
so I never really saw any good in myself. And
Mm.
so, because I'm still building up my self esteem. Like that shit killed
Yes,
my self esteem and and
absolutely.
and and who I was, and it sucked. Like, and I don't know the type of words, you know what I'm saying, but it sucked when it sucks when people tell me like, "Yo, I appreciate you for being strong," and I appreciate people telling me that, you know what I'm saying. But like, I be thinking like, "Damn, I hate that I gotta be fucking strong," you know what I'm saying. Like, I appreciate that people see that, but I hate that I gotta be strong, you know what I'm saying?
What do you
Because
think you prefer? You know, you're touching on something really powerful, because I think a lot of people in their attempts to help us, like, or help people that they love that are grieving, they kind of tell you like, you got this, yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, like you say, you so strong, but you're like, I don't feel it, man. I don't
yeah.
feel it. I don't feel it. You
And the
know?
thing is, I honestly, I thought about what I would prefer, and the truth is, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yes.
I don't know, just because I feel like it's just a burden. Period.
Yes.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? That's why, like, if I do bring in my daughter, and most time
Hmm.
people are like, "Damn, I'm sorry." I'm like, "No, don't do that," because that's why I don't
Yeah.
like to bring it up, because I don't want to make the mood like that.
Mm. Well, here's the thing though. When we have support, when we have people we can, uh, that we learn to lean on, because a lot of us, like, we can give, like we can be there for other people, but we find it really hard to receive it. You
Right.
know, it feels like pity, like you said, like they're just like feeling sorry for me. I don't want that. But when you can turn it and reframe it into, all right, that's support. They're just being there for me in the best way they know how. All
Right.
right, all right, all right. I can receive that. You also mentioned like 3 reasons for living. So psychologists talk about what are called protective factors against suicide. And one of those is if a person has reasons to live, like strong reasons to be alive. Like you were saying, your baby girl, the oldest daughter, your brother, and you were like, all right, my mom, I don't want to put her through what I know I've been through myself. Those were really powerful reasons for living. And that can be like a buffer. Sometimes that's the last gate before you just like, man, that's enough. Like, to hell with it.
Yeah.
And that's a psychological phrase, to hell with it. I'm just playing.
I was like, really?
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, and so yeah, I honestly, I don't know what to feel. You know what I mean? Because there's times when it goes good in my life. There was one time I was so depressed, and like if I didn't think about her, I would kind of be okay. So was telling myself like, "Yo, you're just gonna forget about her. Like she's not here."
Mhm.
You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And that shit hurt me even worse.
That's right. What was the feeling that came up? So what was the feeling that came up? You said it hurt you even worse. Like, not like trying to pretend she's, like it,
Like
forget about her.
because it was just me hurting myself, because I knew the good times and whatever, and then I just felt like, yo, as a parent, like I was like, yo, you're trash if you're thinking that, you know what I'm saying? But it's like I'm desperate, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like,
Exactly.
because now like I was telling my friends, and like I say, I kind of joke darkly sometimes. I tell my
Mhm.
friends, I was like, man, it kind of sucks that I'm consistent with this podcast. It means I can't get out the press and talk crazy anymore. You know what I mean? And and that kind of helps me. You know what I mean? Because I was like, I don't
Absolutely.
want to be crazy that nobody wants to come on the fucking show. But
Absolutely.
I think that I'm like, I'm facing it, but I'm facing it knowing that I have support, I guess.
Yes, 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 yes. So that's the thing I think I was trying to convey to you in that text that day. It's like sometimes, like if we give ourselves enough time, you do get to where, like, kind of like your vision clears, like your third eye unblocks itself again. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like you start seeing again, like the grief kind of the veil that comes over you clear.
But see, I get that, and sorry to cut you
Mhm.
off. You know what I mean?
That's all right. That's all right. That's
I
all
should
right. That's
not be cutting off my doctor
that's
cousin. You know, so, no, but like I get that and all,
yeah.
but then for me, like my birthday is July 21st, her birthday is July 23rd. You know what I mean? And so
Mm,
for me, once I'm feeling good, like I like to smoke. So 420
yeah.
comes around. I don't like
Yeah.
420. My birthday
Yeah.
comes around. I don't celebrate my birthday, I celebrate her birthday. But for me,
Mm,
I can have the best time and get over grief, but then I'm thinking like I have to live with this. I got to live with, oh man, this year my daughter's gonna be 12. Oh man,
yeah.
this year she would have
Yeah.
been 22. You know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
it's just a shoulda, woulda, coulda. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And sometimes you like it's just a thought, but you didn't want to think about that and live to like I was telling her mom, I was like, man, it's gonna be crazy when we're gonna be like 70, be like, man, she would have been 30 years old today. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm, 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 mhm. I think, like with each year, with each, when kids go through milestones, like when the other babies are graduating, you're gonna think about her. Somebody gets
Yeah.
married, think about her. It's a, it's a part of your reality now. It's a part of your reality. So you were mentioning earlier the feeling sometimes of trying to pretend it's not happening, but then coming back to, but you know what? It is happening. And to heal anything, to heal, like you got to move through the process. It's almost like going through the eye of a needle, because it's so hard and so painful. But unless you go through it, you can get to the other side
Yeah.
of, yeah. And it's just a lot of just like, you just have to resolve yourself to the pain of it. Because, like, think about it. Why would it not hurt that I lost my baby? Why would it not hurt? I love this little, you know what I mean? That's yeah, it's gonna hurt. And to move through it, to get through to the other side, where they talk about, okay, you start coming up back into acceptance. You gotta feel it to heal it. Your brain must feel it. Your body must feel the pain of it to kind of like purge it out, like you purge the like squeezing out the pain.
And
But you
I
gotta,
get that, but
Mhm.
when I felt that the first time,
Yeah.
why
Woo!
why would I want to feel it again?
I know, I know, I know. Cognitively, you're like, up here, it's like putting your hand on a hot stove, right? You're like, I
Yeah.
don't want to do that again. I don't
Right.
want to do that again.
Because
So,
because I remember like where it took me and where it takes me and where it makes me question like everything.
yes, 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 yes. I want to invite you to question everything. You know what I mean? Like question everything.
I know, but I do. Look, let me tell you something. I was when I was in the Virgin Islands, I went to this grief group,
Mm-hmm.
and it was great, and it was mainly like a lot of women, but
Mm-hmm.
they would bring a pastor in there, and
Mm-hmm.
like I don't know how to say this, but everybody kind of got a kick that I was like, the only guy in there, and then I'm so young, you know what I mean? So it was kind of cool, if however like that can be cool, but I remember the pastor telling me like, when this life's over and y'all reunite and yada yada. And I told him I was like, I don't believe I'll ever see her again. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like I
Mm-hmm.
it and I know like this afterlife is unfathomable, but my
Mm-hmm.
human brain, like
Yeah.
maybe I might feel some type of energy, but I am not gonna see Rozara in the flesh. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And if he kind of looked at me with disrespect, but it just doesn't make sense. Like if I live to be 80, I'm supposed to see a 9 month a 9 month old baby again. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that's why I said it made me question everything because I was a pretty good Christian. You know what I mean? But now I
Mhm.
question everything.
I get it. I so get it. I so get it. I want to listen to you more tonight. I'm telling. So there was one day. Well, it wasn't one day. I mean, for a long time, I felt that questioning. I grew up Christian, and I thought I was a good Christian.
Mm,
So I had some serious issues with this, whatever energy, this force up there, because I was like, I thought we were cool. Like, why, if are supposed to be in my best interest, why are you going to do a thing like that? You know what I mean? Like, for real? Like, I don't know you like I thought I knew you. And so it took me a long time to feel that rage. I actually went to a priest once who that was the first person who was able to help me feel some peace about it. Like he said, we get angry at the people we love. So the fact that I could get angry at God for doing that, in my head, he did it, right? I mean, we don't know. I don't know how this stuff works, like you
yeah.
say, but that's how I felt. I was like, and over time, um, I think I came back around. Not think, I came back around, but it's a lot of questioning and a lot of it without answers, questions without answers.
Right. Right. And so I mean, in my opinion, I just think you just make your own answers.
You
I
live your
guess.
life. You live
Yeah.
your life, and your answers come to you.
Because one thing that gets me, and it used like one thing I tell you about this whole grief process for me is I became very patient,
Mm,
and I don't take a lot of things serious. That like there's things that will bug me, but like as I'm getting older and life's going on, like there's not a lot that really bugs me.
I can rock you to your core
Right.
because you've been rocked. You've
But
been rocked. Yeah.
one thing that, early on, because when that something like that first happens, you don't want to hear nothing from nobody. Like you want somebody to tell you something, you don't know what, but you don't want to hear what they're gonna tell you. So
Exactly.
with people, would say like, well, everything happens for a reason, blah blah blah. You know what I mean? And so I used to get very mad, but
I feel you.
but
Hmm.
then there'd be instances when I would talk somebody off the ledge, and then it'll
Yeah.
pop in my head like, damn, maybe I am here for a reason. So I go back and forth,
Yes.
but between that, you know what I mean?
Yes. Yes.
Because
Yes.
I think like, okay, and this thinking I'm giving you is just what gives me closure from time to time. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I'm thinking
Yeah.
like, okay, if this wouldn't have happened, maybe
Yeah.
I would have been wilding somewhere. You know what I
I
mean?
understand. I
And then I'm
understand.
thinking like, okay, now that this did happen, maybe I
Yeah.
was supposed to settle down and just chill and find myself and slow down. And but then I'm thinking like, maybe it was just okay. Look, so as I was kind of telling you the story, so let me tell you the story, then my emotion. You know what I mean? And so
Hmm.
from the point it happened, my her mother at the time had called me and was like, she's not breathing, whatever. So I shoot over to Nanny's house. I get to Nanny's house, and she's already there, and everybody's outside. There's like cops and ambulance
Mm.
stuff there, but
Mm.
they're not letting us go in the house. You know what I mean? So they're like saying that they're resuscitating us. So we're outside for like 4 hours.
Oof.
Yeah, and so losing it, there's people
Mm.
from the apartment praying, whatever, you know what I'm saying? And in my mind, I'm thinking like, no, Rose gonna make it. You know what I'm saying? I'm
Yeah.
thinking,
Yeah.
and so when the cop came out, it was this big white dude, and he
Mhm.
didn't even look at me. He just grabbed me and hugged me. and and I whatever.
Mm,
But so
mm,
where
yeah.
was
You
I?
knew then. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And so man, I lost my whole train of thought.
Deep breath, deep breath, deep breath.
Like, cause I don't want to crown here because I'm an ugly crier. You know what I'm
Look,
saying?
aren't we
And
all? Like, do you
I
know
don't
a
want to
pretty
be I don't
crier?
want to be sounding like no slave out here crying.
I don't know a pretty crier, man.
And
We're
okay,
all ugly criers.
and so at this time he hugged me, said, blah blah, whatever. So I go inside, we see
Mhm,
her, and so she's in the black bassinet, she's like a tube down her
mhm,
throat, and so it's just
mhm.
like fuck. And
Yeah.
so at this time we didn't know that she died of suffocation. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
So cause she had just
mm.
turned 9 months, so they're like, oh, it may be SIDS, whatever, whatever.
Shit.
But
Yeah.
Chelsea was really like she was on the autopsy people. And
Mm-hmm.
so when when they told us what happened, then we kind of talked to the babysitter because at this point in time we're hanging out with the babysitter every day. You know what I mean? Because
Mm-hmm.
she feels bad and all this stuff,
Yeah.
and so we found out, and then when I first found out, my first emotion was like, forgive her. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And probably like 2 days later, bullshit you not,
That's right. Turn around.
Chelsea had to stop me. Like I was gonna go kill her.
Turn around.
And,
Mm-hmm.
and my thought process was she let my daughter go, so I'm gonna take her from her kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I remember like Chelsea stopped me, and one thing that also made me feel bad is that when all that happened, like her kids love my daughter, you know what I mean? So they were
Yeah.
crying because they didn't know what the fuck was going on. And so I thought about that, and then I just kind of came back down to reality.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
I had that emotion so much, and then I tried to say, hey, okay, how does she feel? You know what I'm saying? Like, let me
Mm-hmm.
put myself in her situation because I'm pretty sure, like, her dude worked at the mall and he was a manager at Chick-fil-A. And I was,
Mm-hmm.
every time I went there, like, everything was free. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
And maybe it was just him feeling bad in a gesture, but for me, I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, this motherfucker, like, he knows that I'm about to get in that ass, so he's just trying to make,
Mm-hmm.
and it probably wouldn't even like that.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
but and then as time went on, I mean, I got yes, I have kids, you know what I'm saying? But like this
Mm-hmm.
was like my the first child that I was there from like birth all the way, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so it got to a point where I quit fucking with some of my friends who were having kids. I didn't want to see
Yeah.
nobody's kids. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
I don't even know
Yeah.
if I don't know if you know Tanika, but me and her like met up in Dallas like maybe last year or a year and a half. And I had to
Mm-hmm.
apologize to her because she has two beautiful kids. And I quit fucking with her when she had her
Yeah.
kids. Because
Yeah.
I didn't want to talk to anybody who had
Yeah.
fucking kids. Like I'm like, I didn't want to see your kids grow up.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
then I tell myself like DJ, like, you can't be a hoe ass nigga like that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's one thing I listen to Neil deGrasse Tyson, and he always says like
Mhm.
the universe isn't obligated to make sense to you. And so
That's
one thing I told myself to help me, like people aren't obligated to feel bad for me. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Because the shit that happened to me probably happened to somebody, a
Yeah.
mother in Chicago.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So
Yes. Yes.
then I quit feeling entitled. You know what I'm saying? Because I
Mhm.
felt entitled. I felt like a
Mhm.
pity party. Look, I just felt like yo, everybody should care about me. But once I
Yeah.
realized like the world don't stop. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like when that shit happened, like I was homeless for a little bit. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
I got
Mhm.
arrested, and that was
Yeah.
let me know like the world does not stop. Like shit still happens. So
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
to get my shit together.
Yeah. Man, you're describing so many responses that we have to that kind of trauma, because that was a traumatic event. It
Right.
was a major traumatic event for you. And your brain is just trying to make sense out of it, trying to
Yeah.
understand, except that there's no way to really understand it.
Right.
And it takes time. It takes time before you realize I can't understand it. because it's not understandable. It doesn't make sense. The thing is, though, because it is, I have to find a way. I have to practice really accepting it. I have to practice accepting
Yeah.
it is. This is what it is. And that's deep work. That's high level work. You mentioned earlier, like when you were talking about the part where you were saying, well, what is almost as if you were saying, what can I learn from this? What is this pain teaching me, really?
Yeah.
What am I going to do with all of this stuff I'm feeling inside me? I could, you know, take take the nanny out. That's one thing, right? That's one of the options. I
Yeah.
could take her out, I could like lose my mind, get high. I could do that too, but there's 50 other things I could be doing, and you mentioned like, all right, it sounds as if you started finding ways to channel that pain energy, which is like it's so that's so intense, and it can kill us. Like for real, it can kill us. It can kill other people, or we can take it and go higher with it, which is what you're doing with
Yeah.
this podcast. You're creating your own community, like you're widening your community. You're talking about like just this. How long have we been on there? Like 37 minutes, right?
Yeah.
37 minutes of you sharing your story and kind of like you just filing and fine tuning, using the pain, using the story to go higher and go higher and go higher while you're still being a human being, you
Right.
know,
Yeah.
complicated. But that's the story of our lives. Like, we're not entitled. Like there are people who lost maybe five. I get what you're saying, man, because that took me a long. I understand that. I totally do. You do get to where you're like, why me? Why is this happening to me? The thing is, why not you? This is a part of the human experience. Oh my God, right? But it is true, and it takes time and a lot of pain to get there. But when you get there, you can start, I think, kind of holding that kind of pain. You can start kind of holding it and deciding, well, what am I going to do with it? As
Yeah.
opposed to what is it going to do to me? Is it going to take me out? Or can I do something with it on purpose, intentionally, that honors this person, that honors my baby girl? So look at you today, right?
Yeah.
Doing something, spreading, sharing your story that I promise you somebody's going to hear and is going to get some kind of hope from, some kind of something from. And that's what we got to do with pain and trauma. It's not as if stuff's not going to happen to us. We're alive. We cannot avoid it. It's going to come like shit. And that's another clinical term. Shit. Shit's going to come rolling down the damn hill, right in your face, knock you out. If you live long enough, something's going to cut you off at the knees. You won't be able to stand up.
Right.
But we've got to figure, you stay with it, stick with it, feel it, grapple with it, fight with it. Don't let it go. Don't let yourself go. Lean on other people. And eventually you start finding ways to really do something, I think, powerful with it, which is what you're doing.
Yeah.
Which is what you're doing.
Yeah. And I don't know. Like, I honestly would like to, I guess, help people and
Hmm.
talk to people because when this first happened, like I somehow was just meeting people who lost their kids, and I would talk to them, but I was thinking about that one day because I listened to, like, I don't know if you know who Les Brown is.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
after this had happened, I had went off the handle. Like when it first happened, I went off the handle. So
Exactly.
I voluntarily went into
Yeah.
a psychiatric ward,
Yes.
and
Yes.
so there it was voluntary. So I was like, I can
Yeah.
leave whenever. And so
Right.
at first I was like, man, because I was there with people who overdose, who like whatever, and I'm just like,
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
lost my daughter. Like, I don't need to be here.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I was gonna go, but then I went to one of the classes,
Hmm.
and I just kind of hearing everybody's different story. You know what I mean? But
Hmm.
I'm like,
Hmm.
yo, but we're all in the same place.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And so
Absolutely.
I got out of the I didn't even know why I went to that, but I was talking about Les Brown. But then I was
Yeah.
thinking I wouldn't mind doing this for a living or being a counselor or whatever, and that would be great because it'd be great to help people. But
Yeah.
then a picture of me thinks of walking off stage with my head down, like, now who will help me? You know what I mean? Because like this shit is cool, but when you talk about it, it still opens up wounds. You know what I mean? Like now I could talk about it
Hmm.
a little bit easier, but like I tell you, like I just have a weird defense mechanism where I'll just make a joke that shouldn't even be there because I'm
Yeah.
still weird about it.
Yeah. 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 What your brain, the brain does this thing, man, to keep us alive, really, to help us survive. The little what you call a weird joke is a protective, like you say, defense mechanism. A little dissociative barrier, so that you don't go all the way, all like, I don't want to, I can't fall down in the hole, right? Like, not right now, not right now, not right now. You mentioned something about feeling sometimes a wanting to share more with people, because I have a sense your body radiates and feels the energy of that back, because like you feel it. That little piece about, well, but I'm just a dude, I'm just the dude from Austin,
Yeah.
right? I'm just Mr. Wallace from Austin, right? That is just a universal thing we have called imposter syndrome. It's universal. I
What's
don't
it
care
called?
who you are. I don't care how many times they've been on stage. All of us got a little voice in our head that's like, you don't know shit, right? Like, who you
Yeah.
think you are, right? Like, get out of here. Like, they gonna think you crazy. Shut up. That's just a universal experience. So I'm gonna invite you to keep thinking about that and keep playing with that idea,
What, what,
because
what do
people
you mean?
receive the idea of sharing more with
Oh,
people about this, because people who are in the middle of the hole need to hear from people who've already gotten out of the hole, that if you hold on long enough, right?
but see, I don't even know where I'm at in the hole.
That's all right. That's where you are right now. That's where you are right now. You just investigating, right? And every now and then you say, ideas come. Maybe I gotta help some other people with this. Maybe I can and share. This is just where you are, and it's all good. You don't have to make any decisions right now.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you that voice that tries to shut it down, that's another defense mechanism to keep us safe again. And everybody feels it.
But
Everybody.
okay, but see, I don't mind speaking like I can speak about a lot of shit because I had some pretty dark times, which actually helped me learn how to play the piano. But but see, I don't. But I just feel like that what I went through was like extreme, and not saying
Mm-hmm.
the death of my daughter, but the shit afterwards, like
Yes.
just the
Yeah.
party and drugs. So I feel like people don't want to hear about that.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
that's what or I feel like it's just too much
Oh,
because
really?
maybe
Really? You think people don't want to hear how you turned all that around? You think people don't want to hear that there's a hope, that the darkness ends,
right.
that you
But
know
see,
how
the
to
thing
end
is,
it?
I'm not saying that, but like I just feel like I just fell in line with going along with life that I literally don't know where I'm at. Like I know that I'm not freaking out, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But like
Yeah.
I don't really know where I'm at, you know what I'm saying?
I
Like
got you.
I know that this is the most consistent I've been in my life.
I got you. I got you. I got you. Look, all we have is today. All we have is now. That's all you got. That's all we ever Always have. Like right this second, 9:42 p.m. on my side, Eastern. That's all I have, right? And I could be doing 50,000 things with it. All I have right now, right? And I'm using it when we're talking, right? So like there's no forecasting, we can visualize and we can envision, but ultimately all you've got is now. And so it is quite okay from where I'm sitting to be in that I'm figuring it out. I'm in there still, I'm still struggling, but I'm feeling some things, and that's where I am today. I might do some things with it or I might not. I get to choose, right? But I'm going to explore all of it. I'm not going to censor. I'm not going to shut it down. I'm not going to kill anything before I even give it a chance to breathe and have life. And that's what I mentioned that to you earlier. I like ask the question. Go all the way to the end with the question. What if? What if I did that? Well, see it in your mind. What if you did that? What if?
But see, my mind's programmed for the not the worst outcome, but the
Mhm.
failure outcome.
Okay, and then here's the thing. And so what? So what if failure came? What if, and whose definition of failure? Like, what is failure? Who decides what is failure? Like most people who became whatever and discovered whatever. How many times these jokers failed? Like, I was reading something about whomever the dude who invented the light bulb. How many times these jokers failed? Like, they tried this, they tried that, didn't work, right? Every opportunity, every experience, you learn something new, you learn something different about the thing, about yourself, about your life. And it's all valuable, man. Like it's all like we're the accumulation of what we've been through and what we've done with that.
Yeah.
That's what makes you monkey, man. That's what makes you like just there's only one of you. It's just you might have gone through the same thing that 10 other people went through, but it's how you process it, how you deal with it, what you do with it. That's what makes you you. And there's always somebody. I think everybody has like your sheep will hear your voice. Like the people who need to hear it from you will only want to hear it from you. They'll only be able to receive it from you.
Hmm. You cooking?
Like for real. Everybody's not for everybody, right? You
Yeah.
see them like you see some people that are like, oh, Oprah is so, oh, Oprah is this, Oprah is that, and you hear some people like, man, get out of here, this damn Oprah nonsense.
But which Oprah? Big Oprah or little Oprah?
Exactly.
That
Exactly, right?
matters.
It
Yeah.
does matter, right? And so, yeah, your journey is yours, your life is yours, what you do with it is yours. Your so called failures are yours if you decide they're a failure. And that's okay if you decide it's a failure, and you can also decide, well, what will I do if it shows up like what I call a failure?
Well, okay. Here's my failure, and I
Mm-hmm.
don't really like to speak of this because I this is where a lot of my guilt comes from.
Mm-hmm.
So the day my daughter passed,
Mm-hmm.
um, it was 420, right? And
Yeah.
so I was gonna go to work, but I was an exterminator. So we worked outside. It was raining, so I didn't have to go to work. So I just
Mm-hmm.
went ahead and took my daughter to the babysitter, and then
Mm-hmm.
I just went to my homie house, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
so all this happened. So now I'm like,
Yeah.
why didn't I just keep her? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like that is something I probably barely just got over.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even want to say got over. It's just something that I'm kind
Yeah.
of decent with right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I always think about that and that's why I don't celebrate 420 because I'm like, this is for me. This is what
Mm-hmm.
happens. Like I was worried about this. I took her here when I could have just kept her myself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I hear you. I understand. And I mean, I can almost guarantee you that any parent that loses a child has a level of guilt. Like it's actually part of the grieving process. Like you just, that bargaining stage, we go into like, uh, what could I have done differently? Like, why didn't do it like this instead? Why didn't? But it's all just our brain trying to make sense of things. But
Right.
again, this is not a thing that's understandable. And and coming at it from a point of trying to understand it, I don't think ever works because it's not. How do you understand it? Like, I mean, sometimes even if your parent is 99, you're like, man, why they gotta die? Even though up
Right.
here, that's what happens in life. Um, yeah.
But see, and then
So,
I started convincing myself that it was selfish for me to miss her because I only wanted her back for my selfish. You know what I'm saying? Like I just gave myself a lot of shit because one,
mhm,
when I first, I went to I went to the psychiatric ward in Austin. I went to one in Midland.
mhm,
And the one I went to Austin, like they didn't put me on like Xanax, but they put me on something that was just chill me out. You know what I mean?
right,
And so
right.
then when I in Midland, like they put me on Adderall.
Mhm, mhm.
So that was gone in a week.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
I understand.
You know what I'm
I
saying? And so from I went to the island
understand. Mhm.
and they put me on Cymbalta. I don't know if you know what that is,
Okay, yeah.
but
Antidepressant.
so maybe like 3 years ago, like I quit taking that, but like I haven't taken nothing else. And so for
Mhm,
me, it's just literally I just go off of vibes. You know what I mean? Like I don't go
mhm,
anywhere, so I just go off of like positive energy. And if I am feeling
mhm.
bad, like I'm just by myself, so it doesn't matter. And and,
Okay.
and, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing because
Mhm,
the times like lately it's been cool. You know what I mean? Because I'm back
mhm.
with my kids again. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just on the go. But there are times where like the anxiety and depression would give me
Mhm.
so much that I would be antsy, like I would snap, which would lead to me doing other things. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Look, you're a human being, man. Like, you're just a human being wrestling with this stuff. Like, you're just a human being. This is so, like, understandable to me. Like, I get this. Like, this is so, because what happened was so out of the ordinary and such bull, you know what I mean? Like, just it's just so, like, just egregious in a way, like against the laws of nature. It's
right,
just mind-boggling. So you have that kind of response that's at that same kind of intensity. See what I'm saying? Like, as deep as a plant goes, it's as tall as it. You know what I mean? It could perhaps go. It's like the intensity of that kind of event it's all energy, so it's going to manifest itself with that level of because
yeah,
this is so out of whack, like just out of the ordinary. Okay. But everything in nature and in life goes towards balance and homeostasis. So eventually, what happens for most of us, especially when we're trying to find ways to get back there, like what you seem to be doing, is we do come back in balance. And I think wiser, sharper, better when we take time to feel the stuff, to really like to not shortchange ourselves and to be like, nah, it's not happening. I'm not going to think about it. That doesn't help. Like you said, that made you feel even worse.
yeah,
Like to go through the process and to find the lessons, find ways you can use it to transcend, like to go higher than the pain of it, than the
right.
pain.
I mean, but I think for me, like, um, I haven't like really like cried a lot. Like my co-host, well, he's my co-host, but he's never on the show. Like he sent me like he sent me
Uh-huh.
a message today, and like that almost made me cry. And then people just kind of like giving me love, but like I haven't really cried that
Mm-hmm.
much, and so like I feel like maybe I'm over it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say over it, but
Mm-hmm.
over the part to where it's like like sad to me. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean,
Mhm.
I do miss her, and I do
Mhm.
like think about a lot, and there are parts and certain things that like music or shows or whatever that remind me of her, and I find
Mhm.
myself when I start getting happy resorting back to these things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I was
Yeah.
telling one of my friends that I think that once I start seeing success, I get
Mhm.
scared and I fuck it up.
You are like many of us, okay? Again, you're a human being. You're like many of us. We do that, until we get a certain level of comfort with the success, right? It's a defense mechanism. It's a protective mechanism to jack it up,
Yeah.
you know, for some of us. For some of us, okay. As far as what you're feeling, again, everybody's process is their own. There's no judgment on it. There's no judgment on it because, again, 10 of us go through the same thing, but 10 of us have 10 different responses.
Right.
And grief doesn't follow a script. Grief is not, even if they do say you have these 5 to 7 stages, it's not as if you go from one to the next to the next to the next. Next year, like I said, you might be in a fetal position. Next year, you could be skydiving, right? Celebrating
Actually,
her life.
I did on her birthday. Like I skydived.
Yeah. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So it's just, you just got to try to be present to whatever's happening with you now. Again, now is all you have.
Right.
It's all you have. So you see, so even her, like she's not there in physical form. Now, what you might be able to access are your memories of her smell. Oh, she smelled right after she bathed.
Yeah.
The clothes, right? Her nestled in your neck. You keep those things because you can still relate to them and you can experience it in the now moment to help you
Yeah.
soothe yourself. Yeah. But there's no prescription for grief, like except if they just knock you, like you can change your mood with drugs, right? You can
Right.
do that, like you said that anniversary one time you did that. You can change your mood with murder. You were so mad, you were like, yeah, this woman's got to go, right? You can
Yeah.
change your mood with suicide. I don't want to feel this anymore. Or you can feel it until you don't feel it anymore. That's
Mm.
longer and more complicated, but that's the real human thing.
Yeah. I see. I hate thinking about that.
I know.
That's why I just try to live in the now because like if I do think about like I told you like I think about
Yeah,
5 years from now like oh man
yeah.
she would have been 10 blah blah. You know what I'm
Don't
saying?
do it.
So
Don't do it. Pull yourself back. When your brain like tries to run away with you and do all that, like think of it like a funnel, right? You know, like how a funnel is like this and then comes down into like
yeah
that. Yeah, if you when your thoughts go like like a tornado, like, bring it back down into, use your breath if you
yeah.
have to, and center yourself to remind yourself of the truth. The truth is, now is all I have. So I'm here now. I'm doing this podcast now. I'm watching the screen now. I'm meeting my cousin now.
I know, right? That's crazy.
Right? Like that, like that, like that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So how do you like Atlanta?
I love Atlanta. I love Atlanta. Atlanta was I was talking to, wait, I gotta big up my other cousin, Brian. Or because
My
so
brother?
your brother
Oh,
Brian, right? Your brother
hey.
Brian. Actually, I used his company, Sunnyside Moving, today to help my daughter move. And he and his dudes, they were like his crew, they were professional, like they were like on time, like for real. They said 2 o'clock. I was like, ring ring. Like they were there at 2 o'clock. I was like, okay. They were there at 2 o'clock. They were kind, just kind of sweet. One of the younger fellas. He was like talking to me about moving to Atlanta from New York. Like,
Mm,
so me, I lived in New York for like almost a year, in uh, 9/11, the year of 9/11,
So
when it
you
would
went
have.
from Dominica to New York?
So I went from Dominica. First, I went from Dominica to Minnesota. I lived
Mm.
with a bunch of nuns in a convent because they were paying for a scholarship for a
I thought you were
sister.
about to say a bunch of niggas.
Look, I had to look to find somebody with some brown skin, man. You had to
Wow.
count, like we could count them in the little town where we lived.
Yeah.
Ooh. And went from Minnesota to Mississippi. I went to Ole Miss in Mississippi, and then after that, went to New York, worked, and then when 9/11 hit, I was like, I am not going to be riding anybody's train,
Right.
worrying about anthrax or some bomb blowing up. So I came down to Atlanta, and I've been here since, and I love it.
That's cool. So, not to be all up in your business, but married
That's
or
good.
anything?
Say that again.
Are you married or anything?
I am actually not. I used to be married. I am engaged right now
Hey.
and investigating the idea of getting married again.
Why you say that? Wait, how you
Because
investigating if you already agreed to the engagement?
because that's what I think, like marriage is a serious commitment now. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
I think it's got to be, there's a part in the marriage thing where they're like something to the effect of, have you come into this with your sound mind and like nobody didn't force you, that kind of thing.
Oh
Like I
yeah,
really,
yeah.
we got to think seriously about hitching your wagon. Like, who are you going to hitch your wagon to? Can we work out all of our little shenanigans?
So
Little.
is it do you use psychology in dating?
Um,
Or do you try to
but
stay
of
open
course,
minded?
but of course. I'll say this. I'm open minded. Like, I mean, I try to be like a human being, but
Mhm.
like, um, because of the work I do, the stuff is inside of me, really. So
Right.
sometimes it's hard to not see what I see, right? Because I'll see things through my eyes as somebody who's done that kind of work for a long time. So I might be, maybe I see more, or I'm looking for more.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
looking under
cool.
every leaf. Yeah.
Is he what is he? Black, white, West Indian?
He is white. He is a Connecticut boy, Connecticut man.
I'm joking. I'm joking. Let me quit. Let me act like Rozara was half white. So let me
I-
quit. I am joking. I am joking. That's good.
Yeah.
What does he do?
He runs his business. He does like construction. So he's got a construction
Well,
company,
he
and
gonna build y'all a nice little
that's
abode.
right. That's right.
See, so there you go.
Sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean, and plus he's white and you're West Indian, so he's gonna be extra nice to you.
Exactly. Exactly.
Do you know to cook?
Huh? Yeah,
You
man. But look, you can't leave your home in the Caribbean not knowing how to cook.
know?
No, 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 no.
when I
Your parents
when
are
I
going to have.
when I
Hmm?
first moved to the Virgin Islands, I gained 40 pounds.
Eating
My
what?
my
What
my
was you eating
everything
like
from goat to fish to chicken wings. Like my aunt Jaima would make me whatever I wanted.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Woo-hoo-hoo.
Yeah, yeah. You can't leave the house without knowing how to cook.
And I was just joking about you date loving the white guy because
Oh,
I
that's
feel
all right. I know.
I,
I saw you, baby. I already knew. Look, I'm not studying you, man. I'm not
I
studying
know
you.
I got
Yeah.
white kids and Mexican kids, so I'm all over the place. You know what I'm saying? Um, I was gonna say, oh yeah, are there we have to wrap up soon because I forgot I have to
Mhm.
be a dad to these ratchet twins. So uh, it's tough, man. 13 years old, boy and a girl.
Wow.
It's like I never get along with both of them at the same time.
At
It's
the
always
same
one or
time,
the
do
other.
they gang up on you? Do they gang up
Um,
on you?
No, like if I'm my daughter would take it from my son, but my son would just leave her out to die. You know what I'm saying? So like right now, me and him like we're real cool because he wants to learn how to make beats and he wants a podcast
Yeah,
and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
like
yeah.
me and my daughter like we don't beef, but we'll go through periods of where like we will just say what we need to say to each other and just kind of keep it moving. And now it's one of those times.
Well, at least with your son, know you've got some currency. The beats are the
Well,
currency.
yeah, and plus he watches my podcast. Even though I'm like, damn, I be talking crazy on here, but he doesn't judge me. So
That's what's up. That's what's up.
that's I guess I wanted to play a couple of videos, but I'm just gonna play one. But now I don't even know how to play them. I mean, I know how to play them, but I'm like, do I play it and then we just come back talking, or do I end then play it and then play the intro outro? I don't know.
What
See,
what do
this
you
is
what do you think? What do you just go with how you feel, man? You're the boss.
all right. One of these videos. This actually, I have two videos. This is actually the day she passed away. This is the morning before I took her. I was probably talking shit to her. I don't really know what I was
Mm.
saying, but
Say, what's a father challenge? Say, we do this every day, son. Can you say something? Say hi. Hey. Hey, little girl. You're being bored. I can chat up. I can't change. Look at those cheekies. Look at those cheekies. Look at those cheekies. Look at those cheekies.
oh yeah,
So
I
beautiful.
know, right, man.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. What's your favorite memory of her? What's your favorite memory of her?
um, okay, there's two. One, how I came. I actually named her. And I was going through a cooking phase, and she's actually named after a sack of potatoes. The potatoes were called Rozara, and
Okay.
I was just like, take the S out, put a Z in color Rozara, and so like she was named after a sack of potatoes. Um, my favorite moment was when her mom had to have the realization that her first word was dad. And so every time like she was somewhere and I would leave, like she would just yell, "Dad!" You know what I mean?
Oh.
And like me and her, we used to watch basketball all the time. So
Wow.
I would either hold her and dance or
Mm.
we'd watch basketball. And I remember I took her to my oldest daughter was a cheerleader, and I took her to
Hmm.
her cheerleading thing, but it was at a basketball game, and Rozara literally just stood up, mouth open, and just like watched the whole game. And these are like fourth graders playing, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
she really like and enjoyed that, you know what I'm saying? And just
Yeah.
like every memory that I had pretty much with her was good. I mean, there was one time my friend made me like some mac and cheese, but he made like sriracha mac and cheese, and
Hmm.
she grabbed it and threw it down. That
Hmm.
was not a good memory. Like that, like, that actually pissed me the fuck off. And all she did was just like laugh, and like I just like I just loved it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
the times whenever we would change her diaper, like she would smile and be trying to like she'd be straining, like she'd be trying to
Yeah.
like she knows her diaper's off, so she's trying to shit or piss. And so she would always do that. And she got me a couple times. She got me a couple times. But but
That's funny.
yeah, I think that like as much as I hate to like I don't want to say that shit happens for a reason, but I want to
Hmm.
say that this situation has hurt me the most in life. That has made me a better person today. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Because
Yeah.
even like when I first started podcasting, like I wanted to just, I used to be a rapper, so I was just doing something,
Mhm.
and I don't know, it was just different. But now, like, I'm just like talking to a lot of different people, and I have a story. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
Like for me,
absolutely.
like my friend PC, shout out PC, he told me like when he picked me up after Rozara's funeral, like the day after, like you go to the funeral to we got to cremate it, so we were like
Mhm.
picking shit to get, and
Yeah.
he told me, he said, "You're the strength to Blueprint," and I told him,
Mm,
I said, "But I don't want to be,"
I know,
and,
I know.
he told me, he said, "Yo, it doesn't matter, you
But it
are,"
is what it
and
is.
I
Yeah.
remember that like irked me. But like he told me that 4/21/2016, and that is
Yeah.
something that sticks in my head a
So,
lot.
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So what would you say then is the biggest lesson you had from having her in the flesh? Because she's always with you. I think they're always with us. I mean,
Yeah.
energy doesn't go away. So
Um.
what's the biggest lesson from?
Honestly, like taught me how to like really be a dad.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because
Hmm.
I wasn't there for my kids when they were that age. You know what I'm saying? And
Hmm.
so it taught me how to like. I mean, like I was full blown like I love to be a rapper, and when she was born, like I just quit because I was like, nah, I'm not gonna be having all this shit. And
Yeah.
so for me, her birth started my maturity, and I think her death is like, all right, now you're starting to mature, nigga. Like, I mean, like I literally care about the youth now. I'm talking to
Yeah.
teenagers and like, yo, you shouldn't be doing this. I'm an OG, like I'm an old head now, and I like that. But one
Yeah.
thing, when people be like, oh man, I'm getting old, whatever, whatever. I don't say this because I don't like to be that guy, but I like getting old because I know how young my daughter died.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And
Hmm.
so like now it's just it's a crazy feeling. You know what I'm saying? Like I've seen a lot of death in my days, like since she has passed. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And like now I'm more. I care more, but
Yes.
I've been having to teach myself that everybody's traumatic experience ain't the same. So like somebody can come to me and be like, "Oh man, this is such and such happened." And I'd be like, "Oh, that's cool," because I've been through some shit where like nobody should go through, and
That's
so
right.
I've been having to check myself and being like, DJ,
Hmm.
not everybody's lost a kid, nigga. So like,
Hmm.
cut it the fuck out. Like I tell myself, like, yo, cut it the fuck out. Like you have these crazy standards set on being
Hmm.
strong and whatever, just of some fuck shit you went through. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm aware of all my bullshit. Like I I'm that's what this did. This has made me aware. I pay attention to everything now.
And that's life. That's when you're living,
Yeah.
that presence. That's when your life is not passing you by anymore.
Right.
That's
Right.
when you're in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fully
And
alive. Yeah.
and I mean, like I said, that there's like I feel like now the people that are in my life are who's supposed to be there. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Because like I said, I stopped fucking with some of my favoriteest cousins.
Yes,
And,
yes,
and
yes.
and now we're back. We're back. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Like, well, one thing about me, I'm humble, but like I don't care to shit on myself. So like I looked my cousin and was like, yo, like I quit fucking with you because I was jealous that you're the baby. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that shit sucks and it's awkward. But for me, I don't
It's
know how to
real.
really filter something. You know what I'm saying? So
It's
it's like
real.
either I'm gonna tell you or it's I don't know.
Can I tell you
So
that I see that in your posts, like for me, that like that's such a gift, like for real, like like it is what it is. Like you just say the stuff, and I really like that when I read your posts, like
yeah.
for real, like and like you just put it out there. Yeah.
Yeah, you should have seen my other Facebook page. It was crazy. No, it was sad because it was like I was super depressed. Like
I
like you wouldn't know if I was killing myself or not. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then, just even going through that, I'm
yeah.
thinking like, yo, I can't be making people worry about me like this. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Like I can. One thing I told myself, I said, DJ, if you're gonna commit suicide, just do it,
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
you telling people is actually a cry for help. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so
Yes.
I always tell myself, like, if I'm gonna commit suicide, it's just gonna happen. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I don't plan on committing suicide, because even though like this whole shit fucked up my faith, I am not trying to test to see if hell's real.
Yeah.
So I
You don't want to wait to go. You don't want to go and find out,
want to live a good life, and but no,
right?
but I just, so I don't, like I said, I don't want to put nobody through it. I don't want to put my brother through it. I don't want to put my mom
Yeah.
through it. I don't want to put my kids through it.
Your
You know
kids.
what I mean? And then, like, what if like the next life is horrible? So it's like I
Yeah.
killed myself just to go to some horrible shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm like, I might as well just ride out this funky
Ride
ass
it. Just
life.
ride it. Moment to moment.
Yeah. But any last words? 'Cause I could talk to you forever. And
Oh man. Last words. I am so like the word for me, like for real, is awed by you and your just your honesty. Even as you talk about that darker page, I mean, therapists encourage people to write things down, like to journal and to pour out and to purge all the darkness that you're feeling inside, because that in and of itself is a healing thing to do. It helps us to heal, because if we didn't do it like that, if we didn't pour it out, we would keep the energy inside, and that would really tear you up, really jack you
yeah,
up. So I also am proud of you because you're giving a voice, I think, to like our people. We don't like talking about our stuff. Like we say, that's my business. We don't like to air our business out in public. We're strong. I'm a tough man. Black people don't get depressed. Just pray and it'll go away. And I don't know, like, yeah, we love God, but we're human beings,
right,
and I just love your honesty. It's very refreshing, and I think it's very healing for a lot of people, especially the brothers, because it's like you can't run from being a human being.
right, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's
So I'm very grateful for. Thank you for not telling me, girl, get out of here, leave me alone, like that day
nah,
when I was.
nah, nah. Because the thing is that, like, yes, that's how I was feeling. But when I put shit out, like, yeah, it was a cry for help. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like I'm too prideful to hit up my good friends and be like, hey, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because a lot of people have been used to me just being in a good mood. Now everybody's just used
yeah,
to depressed DJ. But
yeah.
like so I was too prideful for that. So I would just put out a little cry for help. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And not with the intention of like I want somebody. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
but it was like that. That's just how I felt. And if
You
somebody
were in
came,
pain.
like, I'm not gonna deny them.
Yeah, you were in pain and you were sharing
Yeah.
it. And yeah, that's a beautiful thing. Because a lot of us, we learn from watching other people. If my neighbor does it, if somebody I respect does it, I'm like, okay, it's cool. I guess it's cool to say how I'm feeling, even if how I'm
Right.
feeling makes you uncomfortable over here. But that's my
Right.
truth. Like, that's really what's going on, And now that I've said it, okay, what do we do next? So I appreciate that. And thank you for inviting me on.
Thank you for being here. This is
You're
great.
welcome.
We got to talk. I need to get
Yes,
your
sir.
number. I didn't know you lived in the States.
Yes, sir. I'm here.
All right, I'll hit you up after this.
Okay. Awesome.
Moke and Friends. That was my cousin, Dr. Wallace. It was a great episode. Thought it was good. I was nervous, but this is great. I hope that it helped who it helped. Shout out to my mom. Love you, mother. And my kids. And I will end this with a video of Rozara laughing at me.